This is BankCents, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. If there's something you don't understand about banking or finances, you're not alone. Our industry experts are bringing you informative and enjoyable conversations that break down bank jargon and dive into hot-button financial topics. And now, BOS, a community bank located across Illinois and Missouri, presents BankCents. Here's your host, Gregory Marantz.
Hello, and welcome back to BankCents, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. I'm your host, Greg Marantz, and on today's episode, I'm excited to talk to you about BOS's family culture and community banking, and who more appropriately to bring on for this episode than my sister and executive vice president here at BOS, Jennifer Marantz. Jen, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So before we dive into our topic, tell us a little bit about what you do at the bank on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so as Gregory mentioned, I'm one of the executive vice presidents here, and very excited about that. I would like to say that most of my job duties are other duties as assigned, and I think as my brother, he will agree.
Yep, a lot of hats.
But I am executive vice president and director of corporate communications. So my background's a little bit in crisis communication, but overall, internal and external, as well as building our brand and keeping that consistent as we grow, really making sure that our commitment to culture and the community stays at the forefront of everything we do.
Yeah, and so there's really no more perfect person to come on the podcast today than you. So before we jump into our topic today, I did want to briefly mention to our listeners, if you have the chance, go back to season 1 and listen to our first episode when we really talk about community banking with our now CEO, Jason Knadler, about the why of community banking and why we do what we do. So we're going to expand on that episode a little bit today and just really tell you about, the purpose of us here at BOS and other community banks, and just give you a little bit of insight there. So with that, Jen, let's jump into really the purpose of community banks and more specifically BOS. So in your opinion, what is our purpose here at BOS?
Yeah, I think that, in most community banks, you're going to find a family culture. In ours, we actually eat, sleep, and dream it. So I think that our goal here at BOS has always been to be kind of a one-stop shop. Even if we might not offer the exact product or a piece of advice that you need, we definitely know the people to refer you to and to trust and to get that whole full conversation going to make sure that we're taking care of an entire financial wellness. So it goes beyond the core accounts of a checking account and a savings account. It's really taking care of your family just like we take care of ours. Yeah,
that's one thing I always like to say when we're talking about being a community bank is that our customers aren't just our customers. They're our friends, our family, our neighbors, and that foremost before our customers. And if they're succeeding, we're succeeding. And so that's a huge part of our culture and what we do every day on a day-to-day basis. Can you talk a little bit more? So one question we get asked a lot of time at the bank is when we're looking to go into new markets, we're looking at growing, we want to do it very thoughtfully. Can you talk a little bit about what a bank and a community bank really looks at when we're looking into these new markets we might go into?
Yeah, I'm not going to say we don't look at data because we are a business at the end of the day. So we're going to look at markets that we think we fit best into, markets that need relationship bankers, that need people to help them through the financial wellness process. So we definitely look at those numbers. But first and foremost, we look for good people. Like Greg said, we're family, so we're only going to refer you to someone who we feel like we would trust our own family with. So going out and finding those people who really want to eat, sleep, and dream the BOS motto and that kind of stuff and take care of our customers and take care of our families. We really go after good people and then let them organically build their market with our support, obviously, and building on that culture, but trying to make it repeatable so that you feel the same way about your bankers walking into any of our branches.
Yeah, and I know we talked about in a previous episode the in-branch experience, and that's one thing we pride ourselves on. No matter what branch you go into out of our 16 locations, you're going to have the same experience. You're going to have a personal banker or a teller greeting you as soon as you walk through that door. And if they know you, they're going to call you by your first name because they've met you before and they talked to you.
And any one of those bankers can call up Jason or Gregory or myself and feel like they can ask us a question any day of the week. The availability of our senior management team to all of our locations is something we pride ourselves on. We try to get out in each of those locations on a semi-regular basis. But, we're in an age of technology, so we can hop on a video call, we can hop on a phone call, we can set up a meeting really quick to make sure we're getting answers in our expansion markets.
Yeah. And you talked about how obviously we like to follow good people in the markets and whatnot, and that also, happens to be the case with following our customers as well,
right.
Not just our employees, and finding good people who obviously have the same values as us in our current locations, but it's following our customers and having our customers that have the right values too that we can follow and team up with them, because it really is it's a relationship. It's not just a one-way relationship. It's give and take on both sides.
Yeah, I think it's really cool where community banking is in this time that we're in. We have a lot of customers who, might be going to college or might be retiring, and they're going to different locations throughout the United States or even internationally. Mm-hmm. And Bank of Springfield, BOS, we invest heavily in technologies, and we're not saying we're perfect, and we're not saying that you couldn't move faster or you couldn't, be more slick, but we make sure that we have all those technologies available to our customers. So maybe going into a bank branch isn't feasible for them all the time, but they can still feel like they have a bank branch to go to because you have that personal connection with someone at the Bank of Springfield.
Yeah, and that's one thing we touched on the first episode about community banking with Jason, is that, you're comparing us to a regional bank or a mega bank out there, and obviously they're a massive corporation. They have scale on their side, but with the advantages that we have with technology nowadays, we can compete with that now. Yeah. No matter where you're at, you can bank with us at the palm of your hand or on your computer. So that gives us a chance to compete with them. And really show our worth, and really where we excel then is on our customer service side.
I would agree.
So one of the biggest parts, transitioning off our strategic growth and what we look at with that, one of the biggest parts about BOS is our involvement in our communities that we're in. Can you talk to us a little bit about a few of the examples that we have with our community involvement and what we're doing in all of our markets? Yeah,
I think it's a point of pride for us here that we really encourage our employees to be in the community, whether that's giving them, over 3,000 hours of paid time off last year to go and work at a food bank or clean up a garden or, even just volunteer time at local schools and reading programs and stuff like that. I think being a community bank, we get to touch so many different areas, so many different nonprofits. And that's really exciting for us. I think we've tried to focus a lot of ours on obviously financial wellness. Education is very important to us. We do offer a educational reimbursement program here for some of our employees, which, I think encourages them to be full, well-rounded humans for each of the communities we're in, and not just the Bank of Springfield. But yeah, I think that we have to just say thank you for our team here, because they have really embraced our communities, and we told them that that's one of our pillars, and they have just embraced it completely.
Yeah, and I know that's one thing we do is we can encourage all levels of staff too.
Yeah.
Get involved in some way. If you can be on a board, great. I've been fortunate enough to be on a community college board for a number of years, and had recently been termed out of that, but it was a great experience for me, and to learn about the community and what that organization can give back to the community as well. And so being able to do that and be given an opportunity to that, I'm very grateful for it. And we see that across our bank and across markets, which is phenomenal to see that. And that's what we're looking for when we're looking for people and looking in, tying it back to that strategic growth. When we're looking into those markets, we want people that are involved in the community.
It helps us get a really well-rounded perspective. And I think having perspective is one of the things that makes it easier to come up with products and come up with ways to improve our communities and those relationships.
Yeah. It's been great having you on today. Obviously, having my sister on is a lot of fun. And we can really share how this culture here is truly a family by having you on. Is there anything else you'd like to add about community banking or something you'd like to pass on to our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I would just pretty much say that, like, we're here to help. And even if you think that you only have $5 to open an account, come on in and let's have some conversations. And anyone is here to help you start that financial journey. Or if you're in the exact opposite, if you feel like you've started your financial journey someplace else and you're just not sure you're getting that community feel that you're looking for, I think this is a great place to do a wellness check. And there's no pressure. Like, sure, we love your business, but most importantly, we want to make sure our communities are thriving.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway too. And one thing we always talk about with our listeners is don't be afraid to ask any questions. No, There's no such thing as a stupid question. And no matter where you're at and, planning your finances and budgeting or whatever it might be, if you haven't started yet, that's okay. You can start. There's no better day to start than today. So let's try to start with that. And I think that's what we do as a community bank is, we encourage our customers, future, past customers, whatever it might be, to work with us together, for their success, because their success is our success.
Yeah.
So once again, I really appreciate you coming on today and talking about community banking. I think it's really enlightening for our listeners just to understand a little bit about how we look at banking as a whole and what we do as a community bank for the communities that we're in. So as always, thanks for listening to BankCents, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. Until next time.
Is there something about banking that doesn't make sense to you? Submit your questions to us on Instagram Messenger or by email, BankCents@bankwithbos.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment below. We're happy to give you our 2 cents on a wide range of topics. Thank you for listening on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us a 5-star rating and review so we can continue to bring you more educational content. Thank you for listening, and we hope you join us on the next episode of BankCents.